And welcome back. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for the first ever virtual Hill Country Living Festival and Rainwater Revival. This is the 10th anniversary of the Rainwater Revival, and we're celebrating that in part with the event today. We're not only virtual, but we're also live streaming this program on the Hill Country Alliance Facebook page, where it will be recorded and available after today as well. So if you have a friend that missed the show and wants to see it, head on over to Facebook and Hill Country Alliance, and you'll be able to watch it. Or if you just happen to really love the show this afternoon, you can go back and relive the joy again. I'm your host, Robert Mace.
And hello, everybody. I'm Vanessa Puig-Williams, I'm your co-host as well with Robert for the afternoon. And I know Robert and I are both super excited to be hosting the Rainwater Revival today. In the interest of time, we won't go over our bios, but if you want to check them out, they're going to be on the homepage at rainwaterrevival.com. So Robert, I watched the program this morning. It looked super educational and interesting. Y'all did a great job.
Well, thank you. It was a blast, and we're going to have some fun this afternoon too, and learn a lot as we go along.
Yeah, and we get to drink cocktails this afternoon. It's probably better that you didn't do that this morning, but I am definitely looking forward to the conversations over cocktails. That's going to become a tongue twister, I think. I'm not sure how many times I'm going to say
Especially
that.
after a few.
Yeah, after a few. So it should be exciting. So for those people that are here with us this afternoon that weren't able to attend the morning program, could you tell them a little bit about how the Rainwater Revival got its start?
You bet. It all started in 2010 in Dripping Springs by a group of citizens called the Hayes County Water Conservation Working Group. They saw a fast-growing county and a dwindling aquifer and groundwater supply, and so they looked back to ancient Rome and early Texas settlers who had looked to the sky for their water. And the Water Conservation Working Group decided that a revival was called for, a revival of the practice of collecting rainwater. And so the first rainwater revival was born. And for some, it was almost a religious experience. And I attended, I don't know if I attended the first one. I think I at least attended the second one. And it did actually change my life. I really got bit by the bug of rainwater harvesting, seeing the tanks, talking to folks that used rainwater. It really was fantastic. This morning, we heard from Alan Rossing of Lakota Water, and he was part of that original group, that conservation working group. And this afternoon, we'll meet Janet Bradford, who attended the very first rainwater revival in Dripping Springs. And she's going to tell us how it changed her life.
Well, I'm hoping it changes mine too, because as you know, we're about to we actually just finished installing a rainwater tank on our property. And
beautiful.
Very excited about that, and looking forward to hearing from Janet. But so today, you know, we're doing this virtually. The Rainwater Revival, 10 years ago, it was first held in a grassy field, but it grew into a full-blown festival event at the Dripping Springs Ranch Park over the last few years. It might be virtual, but we're still celebrating the vision that citizen group has had, which is the collection of rainwater, the conservation of our natural resources, and a common sense approach to living lightly in the Texas Hill Country, which I certainly agree with. So for the past 10 years, the festival has been brought to us by the Hill Country Alliance. I'm proud to serve as the board president. So let's hear from Katherine Romans, our executive director, who can't be with us today because she just gave birth to a baby boy on Thursday, but she's going to join us by video. So Katherine?
Katherine Romans here. I'm the Executive Director of the Hill Country Alliance, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to our 10th annual Rainwater Revival and Hill Country Living Festival. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be here live with you this morning, kicking things off with Lori and Robert. If things are going according to plan, I should be delivering or have recently delivered our second baby into this world, bringing a new family member into the Hill Country Alliance fold. So got our hands full with that. I want to thank all of the partners, the vendors, and the sponsors who have made today possible. This was a big leap for us to transition our signature in-person event to a virtual experience, and we could not have done it without you. We have a jam-packed day planned ahead, and so I hope you'll stay tuned for all of it, from the toe-tapping music to the vendor marketplace to all of the wonderful information we've curated for you today. It should be a real treat. The Hill Country Alliance has been working to protect the natural resources of this region for 15 years now, and we couldn't do it without folks like you who are interested in diving in and learning more. If you are interested in exploring more about what the Hill Country Alliance does, I'd encourage you to check out our website, hillcountryalliance.org. There you'll find all of the best news, information, and events happening around the region. And if you're interested, you can support us. Go online, make a donation today to ensure that this type of programming is available for all Hill Country residents and lovers. With that, I'm going to kick it back to Robert and Lori to launch what should be a really fun day. I miss you all. Can't wait to see you again in person. And thank you for tuning in to the Hill Country Alliance's Rainwater Revival and Hill Country Living Festival. Enjoy.
Well, as Katherine said, the Rainwater Revival and everything that HCA does really couldn't happen without all of our generous supporters and partners. So here's a slide and a shout out. Big thank you to all the organizations and companies that support the Hill Country Alliance and this popular event. Can't name them all, but thank you, thank you, thank you. We've got a good program this afternoon, a very full hour and a half of things to learn, music, conservation news, cocktails, maybe some dancing. I don't know, Robert, I know you DJ, do you dance too? Okay.
I do.
And y'all got the front row seat, so thanks for joining us.
So right now, let's take a quick look at the afternoon program. First, we're going to give away some marketplace trivia prizes, so that'll be fun. Then we'll talk about community science. It's not for sissies, but it is for everyone, from birding and animal tracking to regenerative ag and understanding riparian plants. And I bet $1 that you are going to learn something. Then Alex Dormont and Beyrl Armstrong will bring us a wonderful set of Texana music classics recorded on the banks of Barton Creek. And I guess I may be doing some chair dancing there.
Yeah, we all need to do a little bit of chair dancing.
You can see I dance, but not very well. I'm chair dancing, though.
My chair swivels, so that'll be a little easier.
Then we're going to learn some fabulous gardening tips by yours truly and a fellow bottom gardener. Next, we'll be treated to a brand new song by Alex Dormont called Hill Country, Texas, and it's going to make you fall in love with the Hill Country if you're not already in love with the Hill Country. And while Alex is singing, we're going to mix up our Tom Pollenses and get ready for some conservation talk.
So let's get started with a little bit of the Hill Country conservation news. We have some really good news for Hays County guests today, and that's Proposition A. It's a $75 million bond initiative on the ballot right now that will set aside some of our beautiful lands for public enjoyment, hiking, recreation, water quality protection, groundwater protection, habitat preservation, and flood mitigation. So very important. If you live in Hays County, go to the website haysparksforpeople.com to find out more, and please vote yes. This is very important for protecting our hill country resources.
And don't forget to go outside at night and look at the stars and the moon, because October is Hill Country Night Sky Month, the first annual. Also brought to us by the Hill Country Alliance. And it's also a month of 2 full moons. And we'll see the blue moon, also called the Hunter's Moon, on October 31st. And that's All Hallows Eve, y'all, in case you were wondering.
Oh, wow. Well, a great way to keep up with everything that's happening in the hill country in relation to our water, land, and sky and unique culture will come to you once or twice a month through the Hill Country newsletter. So be sure to sign up, and you'll be glad that you did. It's super informative, and you might get to hear if there's going to be a big company coming to pump groundwater nearby, or if you should go outside and look at something interesting that's going to be in the sky. So please make sure to sign up for that.
So let's play 4 videos to introduce you to the idea of community science, which are things you can do to connect with the natural world around you, as well as learning about science and actually contributing to the body of science. And I want to thank the good folks at Shield Ranch for, you'd swear I was drinking those Collinses or Pollenses.
Yeah. We'll never know.
This is true. You will never know. Thanks to the good folks at Shield Ranch for sponsoring.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Zazula, and I am the Program and Education Coordinator for Travis Audubon, Austin's oldest conservation organization. Our vision is to inspire conservation through birding, and I'm here to share a great citizen science tool for strengthening your birding skills while contributing to science. eBird is a global database of bird observations. It is an amazing tool for birders to keep track of their sightings. While eBird is accessible from your desktop, it can be accessed using a smartphone while you are out birding and allows you to track in real time the birds that you see and hear. If you are unsure of a bird that you come across, you can use a sister app to eBird called Merlin, in which you can input characteristics of the bird that you saw, and it provides species suggestions based on location and season. In addition to keeping track of the birds you see and hear, eBird on your desktop can be used to explore species range, migration, and population changes. All the checklists submitted to eBird contribute to a global database that helps scientists better understand how populations are changing. To get the full run-through on using eBird, sign up for Cornell's eBird Essentials program, a free course that will provide all the info you need to get started on using this amazing citizen science tool. To find it online, Google eBird Essentials. You'll want to select that link at the top, and it will take you to this page in which you can enroll for the 3-hour free course. Not quite a birder yet, but want to learn more about local birds? Get involved with Travis Audubon. We have intro and beginner birding classes, free monthly lectures by experts in birding and conservation, free bird walks led by expert birders, and fun and innovative virtual programming. Our members receive discounts on our classes and get exclusive access to our 750-acre Baker Sanctuary in Leander, which is excellent habitat for the endangered Golden Cheeked Warbler. If you've never seen a Golden Cheeked Warbler, it is a sight to behold. It's also a great singer. Let's turn it over to Travis Audubon's land manager, Chris Murray, for a quick lesson on identifying these little birds by their call.
Hello, did you know that Golden Cheeked Warblers have 2 distinct songs? One song's called the A song, and it's also known as the La Cucaracha song. It's called the La Cucaracha song because if you listen to it while he's singing, it sounds vaguely like he is singing La Cucaracha. In this song, the male will sing typically early in the season when he's trying to attract a female to his territory. The B song is a song that the male will sing typically later in the season, and it usually means that he has a female and now he is defending his territory and his female against other males. So usually later in the season you'll hear more B song, and early in the season you're going to probably hear more A song. We have roughly 60 pairs of Golden Cheeked Warblers at Baker Sanctuary. The best time to see them is usually April or May, when the males are definitely more vocal than they are later in the season. If you have any questions about Golden Cheeked Warblers or learning more about birding by ear, please go to www.travisaudubon.org for more information.
Hi, my name is KaraKroeger, and I'm a Sustainable Agriculture Specialist at the National Center for Appropriate Technology, a nonprofit also known as NCAT. Since 1976, NCAT has been helping people build resilient communities through local and sustainable solutions that reduce poverty, increase self-reliance, and protect natural resources. Today, I want to tell you about one of NCAT's projects, Soil for Water, and how you can get involved. Soil for Water is an initiative to catch and hold more rainwater in the soil. We aim to create a critical mass of landowners who are practicing regenerative management practices to improve soil health and the water cycle. We are performing long-term research trials that monitor the effects of regenerative land management practices and the effects that they have on soil health and the ecosystem. Additionally, we offer educational events and technical outreach to land managers, farmers, and ranchers. We also facilitate peer-to-peer networking opportunities. Regenerative agriculture improves social, economic, and environmental resiliency. Resilient land has the capacity to recover more quickly from inclement weather. For example, by increasing soil organic matter by 1%, you have the potential to hold 25,000 gallons of water per acre. This can be very helpful in times of drought and floods. Soil for Water uses the 5 soil health principles as the backbone of our work. Incorporating the 5 soil health principles into your land management is the easiest way to start practicing regenerative agriculture. The 5 soil health principles include keeping the soil covered with plants or litter, increasing biodiversity both above and below ground, minimizing biological, chemical, and physical disturbance, keeping continual live plant root in the ground, and integrating livestock whenever possible. Soils are the greatest carbon sink after the oceans. These 5 soil health principles focus on increasing soil organic matter and storing carbon in the soil. Whether you are managing agricultural lands, recreational lands, or smaller rural plots, we have come to find that in order to know whether regenerative land management practices are having a positive effect, we have to monitor the land. The Soil for Water monitoring program helps landowners do just that so that they can assess the economic and environmental impact of their practices. We have created a monitoring protocol that uses photo points, percent cover data, plant species identification, and soil testing to help landowners better understand the efficacy of their practices. Through choosing specific land management practices and defining a physical location to monitor how the land responds to these practices, you can learn a great deal about your land. Monitoring the same location year after year can help you see changes such as a decrease in bare ground, which prevents erosion and improves soil health, changes in soil biology, fertility, and the soil's ability to absorb and hold water, and how the plant species change in composition from shorter-lived annuals to more stabilizing perennials year after year. Monitoring gets people out on the land, making valuable observations that help them understand how to improve their practices and the health of their land. Monitoring can be as simple as taking pictures in the same spot year after year, or a more detailed approach such as the protocol I previously mentioned. We suggest creating a monitoring plan that works easily into your schedule to make it approachable and fun. Making it a group affair has the potential to connect more people to the natural environment and can also provide help. Many people who monitor usually discover all kinds of things that they did not know were happening on their land, such as the presence of dung beetles that can help increase soil organic matter and the ability for soil to hold more water. Taking a close look at the same location over time gives you insight that you cannot get from looking out of the cab of your truck. We would like to help you learn to practice the 5 soil health principles along with monitoring to learn more about your land management practices. Please join us in creating a critical mass of regenerative land managers. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. We hope you will join our growing network of land managers who want to be a part of that change. Please visit our website at soilforwater.org to learn more about what we have to offer, or email me at the address below. I will be glad to answer your questions. We hope to hear from you soon, and thank you for tuning in.
Making observations in iNaturalist is a great way to contribute to our understanding of Texas plants and wildlife. Here are some tips and tricks that can help you get the best evidence for your observations and boost their value to research and conservation. High-quality evidence increases the odds that the iNaturalist community will be able to identify your organism down to the species level, which is a key component of what makes an observation research grade. Texas Nature Trackers projects are especially interested in research-grade observations of Texas species of greatest conservation need. Photos are the most common form of evidence for iNaturalist observations. Be sure to take more than one photo, focusing on different angles, parts, and details of the organism. Use a ruler or your hand to give a sense of scale. It can often help the camera focus and can highlight the organism or plant part. Be realistic about the capabilities of your camera and consider the right tool for the job. Many smartphone cameras are excellent at capturing close-up details. Distant subjects like birds may require camera equipment with better zoom capabilities, while game cameras can be excellent for nocturnal or shy mammals. Photos aren't the only form of evidence used in iNaturalist. Sound recordings of organisms like calling insects, frogs, or birds can be as good if not better than a photo. While you can use special recording equipment if you have access to it, you likely have all you need right in your smartphone. Find a sound recording app that makes it easy to get files to your computer. When you're in the field, create an iNaturalist observation to mark your location and write a note that the sound recording will be uploaded later so the community knows to expect a sound file soon. Upload your sound file to your observation via the iNaturalist website. It can be helpful to add a note regarding key time points in the recording that identifiers should listen for. Get more tips and tricks for using iNaturalist at www.inaturalist.org and learn more about Texas Nature Trackers iNaturalist projects at tpwd.texas.gov/trackers.
The Texas Hill Country is known for its pristine waterways. Small, spring-fed creeks flow into larger streams and rivers. Eventually, our waterways cross I-35 and keep flowing until they reach the Gulf of Mexico. To protect hill country streams, we must understand the land that borders them. Referred to as riparian, such areas are diverse ecosystems at the margins of our waterways. Generally, only 1 to 3% of land area is considered riparian, but the value of these ecosystems far exceeds their relative size. Riparian areas are sensitive, but resilient. The Hays County Master Naturalists learned that in May of 2015, when a devastating flood hit the Wimberley Valley. Property damage along the Blanco River was extensive. Unfortunately, lives were lost. Lots of riparian vegetation was also damaged or destroyed, particularly the many iconic bald cypress trees that line the river. After the flood, jump-starting vegetative recovery became a priority. Hays County Master Naturalists combined efforts with organizations who came to our rescue. Texas Parks and Wildlife distributed 15,000 riparian sedge, rush, and grass seedlings. Then, over the next 4 years, tree folks coordinated the planting of 200,000 trees and shrubs across a 30-mile stretch of the Blanco. So why so much attention to helping riparian vegetation? Experts came to help us understand what the Blanco needed. Uniformly, their answer was simple. Vegetation is the key to protecting precious hill country waterways. We learned that the roots of riparian plants become intertwined in ways that protect damaged stream banks and store water for release between rain events. Flooding is a normal occurrence here in the hill country, but riparian vegetation has evolved to recover. 3 functional groups make up riparian ecosystems. First are the pioneers, and they are just what the name sounds like. The first to propagate on large, destabilized gravel bars. They are species that like to grow in harsh environments that lack shade and soil. Sometimes they are dry land plants that will die out as soil and moisture returns. Over time, they are crowded out by riparian plants growing in their shade. Second are the colonizers. These are plants that quickly spread, creating a mat of new roots that holds newly deposited soil and captures even more. Generally, colonizers grow close to or even in the water and are vital to the rebuilding of our riverbanks. One of the species distributed by Texas Parks and Wildlife, spike rush, spread quickly, and the results just a few years later are impressive. Texas Parks and Wildlife also distributed 2 stabilizers, switchgrass and emery sedge. Stabilizers are generally tall, upright plants, grasses, shrubs, and trees with amazingly strong, dense root structures. They are much slower to establish, but once their roots have penetrated deeply, stabilizers can withstand most flood events. Riparian vegetation plays a critical role in helping slow floodwaters and capture debris. And as floodwaters slow, sediments drop out, building and enriching the floodplain. Riparian plants are also important between floods. Besides storing water, they support lots of wildlife. And if that's not enough, many are very beautiful. Hill country streams and rivers can be resilient. That is, as long as we humans don't get in the way of natural processes. So, learn to appreciate our diverse riparian vegetation. Let it do the job it's designed to do. Preserve the quantity and quality of our precious hill country waterways.
And thank you to those of you that participated and continue to participate in bringing the rivers back after those terrible floods. Next up, if you love Texas, you're going to love what's next.
Hello, I'm Alex Dormont.
And I'm Beyrl Armstrong.
We're so glad to be part of the Rainwater Revival Festival. All day I face the barren waste without the taste of water. Cool water. Water. Old Dan and I with throats burned dry and souls that cry for water. Water. Cool, clear water. Water. The nights are cool and I'm a fool. Each star's a pool of water. Cool water. With the dawn I wake and yawn and carry on to water. Water. Cool, clear water. Water. Keep him moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sands with water. Water. Dan, can't you see that big green tree where the water's running free and it's waiting there for me and you? Water. Shadows sway, they seem to say, tonight we pray for water, cool water. And way up there he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water, water, cool, clear water, water. Dan's feet are sore, he's yearning for just one thing more than water, cool water. Like me, I guess he'd like to rest where there's no quest for water. Water. Cool, clear water. Water. Cool, clear water. Water. Cool, clear water. Water. Cool, clear water. Here's one by Sarah Elizabeth Campbell.
It's been so long, how long has it been since we smelled the rain on the cool north wind? Grass is turning brown, the trees are gonna die. if we don't get some help from the sky. Oh, don't worry, baby, it'll be okay. We just need a good summer rain. I'll be on the back porch underneath the weather vane, praying for a good summer rain. Night falls down, I want to go to bed. Too hot for sleep and toss and turning instead. Get up in the morning, look up at the sun, wondering when that rain's gonna come. Oh, don't worry, baby, it'll be okay. We just need a good summer rain. And I'll be on the back porch underneath the weather vane, praying for a good summer rain. Remember that night the creek rose so high, we could not believe what we were seeing. Gathered up the children, ran for high ground, seems like a dream to me. Been so long, how long has it been since we smelled the rain on the cool north wind? The grass is turning brown, the trees are gonna die if we don't get some help from the sky. Oh, don't worry, baby, it'll be okay. We just need a good summer rain. And I'll be on the back porch underneath the weather vane, praying for a good summer rain. Yes, I'll be on the back porch underneath the weather vane, praying for a good summer rain.
Thank you, Beyrl. All right, here's a Johnny Gimble tune and a bunch of Bob Wills tunes. We're going to do a medley of 3 San Antonio songs. I fell in love neath the Texas moon above, somewhere south of San Antone. Her smile was fair, gardenia in her hair, somewhere south of San Antone. Many moons have passed, I'm going back at last. We're gonna make it our home. She's by my side, for I made her my bride, somewhere south of San Antone. Yeah, somewhere south of San Antone.
Deep within my heart lies a melody, a song of old San Antone, where in dreams I drift with my memories beneath the stars all alone. It was there I found, beside the Alamo, enchantment strange as the blue up above, moonlit path that only she would know. Now here's my broken song of love. Now moon in all your splendor, know only my heart. Call back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own old broken songs. Empty words I know still live in my heart all alone. By that moonlit path by the Alamo, and rose, my rose of San Antone. Yes, rose, my rose of San Antone.
I haven't got to worry, I haven't got to care, I haven't got a thing to call my own. Though I'm out of money, yeah, I'm a millionaire, well, I still got my home in San Antone. When I greet my neighbor with a how you are,
hi y'all,
wealthy as a king upon a throne. You can have your mansion or your cottage small, well, I'll just take my home in San Antone. Trombone, give it. Yeah. Sweet. I traveled around the country, yeah, on my merry way. I've been in crowds and felt I was alone. When I feel like bragging, yeah, I just up and say, well, I'm a native son of San Antone. There's a sweet somebody by the Alamo, someday she's gonna be my very own. And we'll buy a high chair in a year or so for our little home in San Antone. Yeah, for our little home in San Antone. right, here's one you can all sing along with. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Help me now. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day, where the air is so pure and the zephyr so free, and the breeze is so balmy and light. Well, I would not exchange my old home on the range for all of the cities so bright. Here we go. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. And the skies are not cloudy all day. How about some more Bob Wills? Let's do that. Time changes everything.
There was a time when we thought of no others. We both sang our own love's refrain. Our hearts beat as one as we had our fun. But time changes everything. When you left me, my poor heart was broken.
Tell me more.
Romance seemed all in vain. Now the gray clouds have gone and there's blue skies again, 'cause time changes everything. You can change the name of an old song, rearrange it and make it swing. I thought nothing could stop me from loving you, but time changes everything. So goodbye, good luck, may God bless you. I can't say I won't love again. Now you go your way, 'cause I've gone mine, and time changes everything. Yes, time has changed everything. Oh.
Time for a little Woody Guthrie. How about it? This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I got it. I've roamed and rambled,
Oh, yeah.
and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of their diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. It said, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. Yeah, this land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Here we are, deep in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. Let's do a Johnny Gimble song. It's called Hill Country Sunset. Hill Country sunset is calling me. cactus, live oak, and the evening breeze. When work is finished and day is done, love seems to bloom with setting sun. God turns the sky in the west to flame for everyone to see. While skies are turning, my heart is yearning. Texas Hill Country's calling me. Hill Country's sunrise that's calling to wallflowers kissed by the morning dew. Somewhere a mockingbird starts her song, telling me here's where I belong. When all the cares of the day are through, I know where I'll be. While skies are turning, my heart is yearning. Texas Hill Country's calling me. While skies are turning, my heart is yearning. Texas Hill Country's calling me. All right, let's all sing along one more time. Here we are. The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas, the sage in bloom is like perfume. Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love. Deep in the heart of Texas, the cedar trees will make you sneeze. Deep in the heart of Texas, and the oil wells, they're full of smells. Deep in the heart of Texas, the cow that cry, Yippee-yi. Deep in the heart of Texas, and the rabbits rush around the brush. Deep in the heart of Texas, the stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, and the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, we are so glad to be part of the Rainwater Festival once again. I'm Alex Dormont.
And I hope it rains. I'm Beyrl Armstrong.
And let me introduce Barton Creek. Thank you, thank you.
Everybody here who lives in the Hill Country is familiar with all of our karst rocky limestone and how difficult that can make to grow plants. And it's not easy to have a vegetable gardener for gardeners to keep things alive in the Hill Country. The soils are shallow, the bugs are voracious, and the deer will eat anything and everything. But Robert here and a fellow Wimberley gardener, Janet Bradford, who's going to be joining us just in a second, have found a way to grow fabulous gardens with less water.
There's a better way to garden in the Texas Hill Country, and it goes by many names. Wicking garden, bottom watering, galvanized gardening, horse trough gardening, or cattle tank gardening, to name a few. But they all share one thing in common, delivering water through a reservoir at the bottom of some type of watertight container. And as a result, you'll save time and water and experience increased flower, fruit, and vegetable production.
What we are creating is a microcosm of nature, where the trees around us, the flowers, the grass, wick up their nutrition and their water from the reservoirs that are beneath us, the precious reservoirs that are beneath us.
And what we used were watering troughs for cattle. And it's probably nothing more Texan than doing your garden in a watering trough for cattle. I filled it up halfway with pea gravel, drilled a hole, and I've got overflow. Put the weed barrier on top, filled with soil, mulch, and planted the plants. We're going to dedicate half of this container to water storage with the pea gravel.
Using a plastic container as a model for his wicking system, Dr. Robert Mace drills a hole roughly halfway down to allow overflow to avoid drowning plant roots.
And we're going to add our pea gravel. So I want that overflow pretty much at the level of the pea gravel.
Then comes weed barrier cloth to hold the soil, good rich soil, and then mulch on top to help restrict evaporation. Probably the most important item here is the soil you use.
They say, what is it? Spend a penny on the plant and $1 on the soil. The soil is critical to your success. I don't care what you're gardening in.
Instead of pea gravel, Janet Bradford's Wicking garden plan calls for 4-inch sections of perforated PVC pipe supporting a soil barrier of polypropylene screen that is also perforated, with 3 or more taller pipe sections allowing some of the soil to come in direct contact with water.
Yes, you'll have soil go through here. That's why it's so effective at increasing the wicking power.
To illustrate how wicking works, Dr. Mace uses a paper towel and some colored water to demonstrate the power of capillarity.
And then, woo, look at that. That is capillarity in action.
Basically, it's the affinity for water to be drawn up into the soil, actually moving against gravity. According to Dr. Mace, studies have shown that systems that draw water from below can save 90% of the water used to irrigate a garden, while helping grow 40% more of whatever you're growing.
As the plants start using the water in the soil, there may be some drying of the soil from the top. Water will then wick up from the aquifer underneath, from the water reservoir, and water the plants and keep your garden watered. And you don't have to do anything except every once in a while come back in and top off your garden when you need more water.
Which is good news during hot summer months, when leaving your garden untended for even a few days of vacation can be a death sentence for plants.
Put the hose right down here. When you garden like this enough, you'll hear when it's getting full, you'll hear a bubbling sound.
With wicking garden practices, you not only have healthier plants, you can save as much as 85% of the time it would take for a conventional top-down watering.
A big question, of course, is, well, how often do you have to put water in these tanks? Well, depends on the season, depends on what you're growing. Some vegetables and flowers take more water than others. Generally, in the hot weather, I think it was about a week and a half between when I would refill the reservoirs, maybe 2 weeks. In pleasant weather, in the fall and the winter, you could probably go a month.
To review, both of these wicking gardens start with a metal stock tank. The tank can be rectangular or round, of virtually any size. The system that uses gravel first installs a filler pipe, and then is filled about halfway up with pea gravel. A small half-inch hole is drilled just above the gravel line to allow excess water to escape. The gravel is covered with a weed barrier cloth and several inches of soil added on top, and finally the plants with a covering of water-saving mulch. The system that uses PVC pipes and a polypropylene screen requires enough 4-inch PVC pipe to support the screen. As an example, these tanks have about 30 4-inch pieces of pipe. 3 to 5 pipes are cut at 6 inches.
And I use 3 for the 3-foot tank. In my 6-foot tanks, I have 5, just to help the wicking process.
Then a hole is drilled just above the screen floor for overflow. From this point on, both wicking gardens are identical, topped off with soil, plants, and mulch. Now you're ready to enjoy how easy and productive your garden will be, while at the same time preserving our precious hill country water.
I have 10 of these. They've worked 24/7, 365 since 2012, and I'm going to dance with the one that brung me for sure.
That's wonderful. Who is a member of the Wimberley Garden Club that is joining us. And Janet, I really loved learning about your garden. I felt a little sheepish about mine, that mine was over-engineered, and I'm not saying yours is over-engineered, because I think yours actually works better than mine. In the thick of summer, we're having to top off twice a week. But if you're able to go 1.5 weeks and 2 weeks in the summer, that's awesome. I might have to dig mine up and redo them.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I want to know, for those of us who aren't so handy, can we buy those from you ready-made?
I'm afraid.
I'm ready to do it. I just don't know if I can do that myself.
It requires a few tools. I want to tell you all first that I did not invent this. I'm just lazy. And when we were getting ready to move down here in 2010, and I'm a city girl, I started preparing, and I did two things, and you're gonna laugh. I bought a book about chickens, and then I subscribed to Mary Jane's Farm magazine, which is a cowgirl, ranch girl, farm girl kind of, but she, in a 2011 issue, when we were already here, she did, this is just a PDF of it, she called it horse trough gardening. She's the one who invented this system. And okay. I read this, and because, again, I moved from North Texas, and the pure shock of this area and how different it was, and I'm a lifetime gardener, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And this was in 2011, and we all know the summer of 2011 was horrific. Mm-hmm. And we had attended the very first Rainwater Festival. See, here's my t-shirt from the very first one.
You said it was life-altering, and I was curious, what happened?
So, I mean, I'm not saying all city people have a little bit of unappreciation for where their water comes from. But if you ask most of them, where do you get your water? Oh, at the tap, the city, that kind of thing. Well, there's only one source of water. And I was truly, it was evangelical, Robert. I think you mentioned, the nature of the event. I was blown away totally, especially by all the stories of the participants who came to share their personal history here. And I mean, there were people who were saying that, well, I keep a bucket in my shower so I can collect the water I don't use and then go use it on my plants. And there were discussions about who saved the most water in the bathroom. And the exhibits were amazing. That's where I met Alan Rossing and the Lakota family, who put in our system. It's a 40,000 gallon rainwater tank. And everybody says, you don't need that much. Well, you need to have it if you don't, you want to have it if you don't need it. And if you need it, you want to have it. So anyway, it did turn me around to truly appreciating it, not just living here and seeing what we live in the middle of, the animals and the rocks and the drought and the every so often floods. It did open my eyes, and I'm very grateful that we did that in 2010. Gave me a little bit of time to think about things, and I had to start gardening. So I wish that I had a green screen behind me so I could sit like you, Robert, and show off my garden. It's not a good picture. I have a round, can you see, a round garden.
Oh, yes.
That was from spring before last. You can see my tanks in there, kind of. It was an old horse training pen, and my morning glories were so heavy the very first year that it just brought the fence down. And I had the wonderful opportunity to find somebody out of Blanco to, and my husband had been in construction, to use 8-foot tall oil field pipe and then wonderful tension wire around it. We had an antique gate that we had saved for some reason, and we put that in. So it's the one spot in our 20 acres that we are able to protect from animals. And so anything I want to eat, or all my pretty things, and if you want me to, I can tell you what I'm growing right now.
Yeah, I want to know what both y'all are growing.
I do in those 10, 6, all of my tanks, Robert, are 6-foot rectangular tanks in the garden. That's just because that's what Mary Jane did in her article. And she had 40 of them. She had 40 of those tanks. She's up in the Midwest somewhere and had a real muddy spot in her acreage that she could not properly till and keep a garden in. And then I have 2 3-foot rounds of asparagus that are at a different place.
Yeah, we've gone.
I think I know what Robert has in his. I bet you have.
Yeah, we've gone with the round ones, and that was more for aesthetics than anything.
Round is good. Round circles are better than.
Well, I don't know. You know, there's something to be said. Like you can do more traditional rows, like what you have. But for us, it was kind of aesthetically, we thought the round worked better, and we've expanded, and so we've got 7 right now of different sizes.
Are they all filled with catnip?
No, one of them does have catnip. And and everything, and Janet I'm sure will agree with. I mean, stuff grows incredibly well. It's hard not to have a big smile on your face when you go out to your garden, because it's just, doesn't matter how hot it is, how dry it is, things are just exploding.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if anybody from the audience has a question, feel free to type it into the Q&A. Just in the last minute or two, I mean, what do you all feel like? I know the video covered it a bit, but some of the benefits of these wicking gardens, obviously they save water and allow you to grow, but are there other, reasons that people should consider, building one of these wicking gardens?
I call it cocktail friendly gardening myself. And so, I mean, you can garden while you're holding a cocktail. There you go. And you never have to set it down. And they're elevated. And so you're not having to bend over and crawl around. You can actually reach things, and you can really mulch the heck out of it. And so you really don't have much of a weed problem anyways. We don't spend much time weeding. So it's a big time saver. And the productivity is great, and it's easy on your back, especially as you get older.
When we moved down here, I was 58, so that was 10 years. So now you know how old I am.
You look great.
I am a bit of an evangelist for this particular style. One, because of the water conservation. Now, in mine, those little 4-inch legs that were the sewer pipe, and then the screen sits on top. That gives you a 4-inch reservoir, which for a 6-foot tank means about 30 gallons of water at the bottom of the tank. The tank itself will hold about 16, 17 cubic feet of soil, which is a whole nother discussion. But I really try to promote these, and I've spoken to a number of garden clubs, the Master Gardeners, the Herb Society, the Wimberley Garden Club. We took on this as a special service to our community. We established a wicking garden like mine at the Jacobs Well Elementary School, at CAPS, and for the special ed program at Wimberley High School. And I bring people out to my garden all the time and give them personal lessons. I take a 3-foot tank with me that has all of the stuff in it. I take my chair, Robert. I take my tools. Well, that's not a tool, but
yes, it is.
This is it. I no longer want to or really have a good time hoisting a lot of dangerous tools. I'm saving my back. I'm using these little tools, and some of my best tools, Robert, I don't know about you, are my hands.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
the soil that goes in these tanks keeps its loft. It will not compact. You're not watering from the top. It's coming up from the bottom.
Good point.
I mostly, and this is why my nails, don't look at them too close, look horrible. And I always forget to put the gloves on. You should be able in these tanks, and this is what, you know, I've done this since 2012, year round, be able to plant and to get into your dirt with your hands. Only a couple of times a year do you need to, you know, really dig around in it and refurbish your compost, your cottonseed meal, your whatever you're going to put into it. And to me, I would love to see this kind of water saving, energy saving, back saving, time saving system of gardening, whether it's Robert's, mine, a wicking garden. Think of what churches could do, community gardens, schools, rehab centers, retirement centers. It's a perfect garden. It's a perfect garden for those kinds of establishments, or even small little restaurants, you know, for their kitchen gardens.
For their restaurant, yeah, for the kitchen.
And it's easier. Yeah, you asked Vanessa about, you know, can one of y'all come out and build one of these? They're really easy to do, and you know, I really appreciate Janet's because it maximizes the water reservoir. And then kind of thinking, you know, there could be a hybrid between what she did and what I did, where, you know, I use those kind of drainage pipes down in the bottom to help get the water in, but you could fill the tank with those and then maybe put pea gravel on top of that. And then just landscape, like weed barrier, something that allows the water to go through, and then put the soil on top. And, you know, you probably would do more work putting in elevated beds. In this case, you just got to find a level spot or level it and slap your tank down and put the stuff in the bottom and put a screen on and put your soil in and off you go.
Yeah. Well, I like the little ones that you had in the video. I think those look like good projects for kids to do. I have a lot of questions, and I know we're not going to be able to get to all of them since we're already over time. I think, Leah, if we don't get to all of them, maybe there's a way we can, you know, share out contact for Janet and Robert if people have more specific questions. If y'all are willing to answer.
Sure.
But
yes.
Yeah, you've been volunteered now. So actually, on that note, you are, as panelists, able to respond to the questions in the chat. So since you're panelists, you can scroll down and click that little Q&A box and you'll see them pop up. There is one question I would love to answer quickly while we've got you guys like here, but the rest feel free to answer them with comments. But this one is just, what was the name of the person that created the PDF of instructions on how to build that trough garden? I know you mentioned it earlier.
It came from Mary Jane's Farm magazine in 2011. It still exists. You can pick it up at Tractor Supply and lots of places. And the editor or the owner of that magazine, I don't know if this is her real name, but it's Mary Jane Butterworth. So there you go.
And if you get online and search Wicking Garden, there'll be all kinds of different articles that come up, and you might even come across, I've got a blog post somewhere where I show step-by-step of how we put ours together.
I have a PowerPoint presentation also that I do, and it is a step-by-step instructions in that PDF article, and I am happy to share that.
Okay, great. Well, we really appreciate you, Janet, being here today. Sorry we were delayed and we couldn't get to all the questions, but if you want to check some of those out in the Q&A, that would be great. And I think now we get to move on to the cocktail conversation piece of the event today. And we are going to, while we mix up our cocktails, we're going to listen to a video premiere, Hill Country, Texas, by a song by Alex Dormont.
Big rain today on hill country, Texas. Thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My hill country, Texas home. Sweet springs are bubbling up to meet the rivers, San Pedro, Comal, and Garden Springs, clear crystal pools, rippling rapids, cypress and live oak line the banks of Loam, my hill country, Texas home. Big rain today on hill country, Texas. Thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My hill country, Texas home. Hill country rivers tumble down to the ocean. Llano, Pertinaldus, Waterloo, Nueces, Sabinal, and Cuckoo, Frio, carving out the canyon since time unknown. My hill country, Texas home. Big rain today on hill country, Texas. Thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My hill country, Texas home. Yeah, my hill country, Texas home. I love my hill country, Texas home.
All right, now that's a Tom Pollens sipping song, and I've got mine right here. That's the fastest I have ever mixed a drink. Really made me thirsty.
I had trouble getting the top open, but it's so I think this might be my new favorite. So we have all of the panelists here.
Yeah, I have to admit that when the organizers told me I was going to get tanked, I thought I was going to get a rainwater tank, but here we are.
Yeah, well, this is just as fun, maybe.
Hi guys, this is Lindsay with Waterloo Gin. We're going to be making the Tom Pollens today. It's a cool riff on a traditional Tom Collins, but with our Yaupon gin. It's a Central Texas expression that we try and locally source everything that's in that. So we use the Yaupon holly plant from Lost Pines Tea Company in Bastrop. We use the local apiary for our honey that's in it, and we also use make root lime zest from the valley. So it is pretty much everything that grows around our area is in this gin, and it is fantastic. If you haven't tried it, welcome today. We're also going to use a little bit of lime juice, honey simple syrup, and Richard's Rainwater, also from Dripping Springs. Go ahead and grab your cup. I'm repurposing a mason jar for this particular class. Go ahead and fill that up with ice all the way to the top. Crushed ice is always good, but you can just use regular ice as well. And it's a nice porch sipper too. So you're going to use 2 ounces of the Yaupon gin. A ½ ounce of lime juice. And then a ½ ounce of honey simple syrup. That is going to be the base of your cocktail, and then we will top that off with the Richard Sparkling Rainwater. And I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of 5-star anise and then a little lime twist, and there you go. You guys enjoy. Cheers.
Wanted to make sure everybody knew how to make those.
Yeah. Well, cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here.
And it is delicious. And I have to confess, I am not much of a gin fan, but this is honestly really fantastic.
This is the first I've had it. It's delicious.
Whatever they're doing, it's working.
Well, okay, so I'm going to introduce everybody on the panel because I was just excited to introduce all these wonderful guests that we have. Thank you for coming back. I know you were co-hosting this morning, so thanks for coming back to be on the panel. Lori's
Sure,
with
my
the
pleasure.
The TLTC, Texas Land Trust Council. We've got Vanessa Escobar, who's the general manager of the Barton Springs Edwards Aquifer Conservation District. And then Emily Warren with the Cynthia and George Mitchell Foundation. And is Dan Oppenheimer on?
Hi, Vanessa, I'm here.
There you are, okay. And Dan is the land program manager with the Hill Country Alliance. And we've also got Leah back, who's gonna help us with Q&A, and it's good to have y'all here. So let's do this quickly in a minute or less. I want to ask y'all, what's an important issue facing the Hill Country today that you and your organization are working on? And why don't we start with Vanessa?
Sure. Hello. You know, I would say that managing our groundwater supplies in a time of increased growth in the Hill Country and in the I-35 corridor overlapped with the locational setting where we experience extreme drought and flood regularly is a challenge that we've been facing for a long time now, and we continue to face that. And the population growth is just exponentially affecting the pressure that our local groundwater resources are experiencing. So I think that's something that is really the center point of the work we do at Barton Springs. And everything we do is to help manage the resources sustainably and for drought. And so really that involves policy making and sound science making. And so there's just ongoing challenges associated with communicating those missions and those messages.
Yeah, groundwater is definitely a major challenge in the whole country for sure.
Sure.
Okay, so Lori, you're next on my screen.
Sure. I mean, I think one of the major challenges we face in the Hill Country and around Texas is conversion of our open spaces and our agricultural lands to development, to subdivisions, and development of all kinds. And you know, that's definitely a challenge as our population grows. And you know, we need to really, I think, work as a statewide community to make some more investments in funding land conservation. I know in Hays County, we have a big ballot measure on the ballot in November to do a $75 million bond for open space and new parkland acquisition. And so I'm really excited to be a part of that and excited to promote that, and would love to see us do even bigger things across the state. So.
Great, thank you. Emily?
So I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but I think kind of to Vanessa and Lori's point that the biggest issue are these multiple pressures in the Hill Country, and they're complicated because they're all connected, and they're exacerbated by climate change and from growth and the desire to keep communities thriving and vibrant, and keeping the culture while also changing. And so you know, thinking about how people can be part of us, you know, the people in the community can be part of the solution. So at the Mitchell Foundation, we kind of take that systems approach and have been supporting work in the Hill Country to help figure out how to, I guess, grow with grace, be resilient in the face of all of these pressures, and honor all of the wonderful things about the Hill Country communities.
Well, thank you, Emily. I mean, the Mitchell Foundation is such a huge supporter for, I think, you know, all of the organizations that are working in the Hill Country. So we appreciate y'all supporting the work. And then Daniel, what is an important issue that, in your opinion, facing the Hill Country, and how are you trying to solve it for everyone?
Sure. Well, I love what Emily said, growing with grace.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
So the Hill Country, we're projected to double our population in the next 35 to 40 years. So the question is, how do we welcome people? You know, we've got millions of people coming who will, as the song said earlier, call the Hill Country, Texas, their home. How do we welcome these people in a way that preserves the things that make this the beautiful place we know and love? And at the Hill Country Alliance, for us, those are our lands, our water, night skies in our communities. And as the land program manager, a big part of what I do is I work with landowners, some whose families have been here for generations, others who have just moved here, perhaps in the last couple of months, find ways to manage and steward and take care of their land in a way that sustains the health of the land, of the soil, of the plants, and of trees like that Yaupon holly, which is doing great things here. So I tried to do a little, I don't know if y'all can see this, but I just want to thank folks from Treaty Oak Distilling and Richard's Rainwater, because it is a mighty tasty concoction. So
it is.
So how can people get involved in these hill country issues and solutions? Daniel, you want to start, since, you know, I think getting involved in the Hill Country Alliance is one way, but
sure. So the Hill Country Alliance, again, we work on those issues related to land, water, night skies, and the communities. And the two primary ways we do that, one is through outreach and education. So check out our website, hillcountryalliance.org. We have a whole series of issue papers which boil down all sorts of conservation issues into digestible 1 or 2 pagers. Check out our newsletter. You can go to the very top and say subscribe. It's a free newsletter that comes out about twice a month that Leah puts together and does a fantastic job with. If you have specific questions about land stewardship, send me an email, daniel@hillcountryalliance.org, and we'll connect you with the right resources, whether that's a person or something technical that's written to give you the information you need to take care of your land.
Vanessa, kind of building off what Daniel just said, I know you asked kind of what's the challenge, and you all said some really big challenges that the Hill Country faces. But one thing I'd like to say is it doesn't seem like the challenge does not lie in getting people to care about the resources here.
Right.
Anybody in the Hill Country recognizes that we're living in this really incredible, beautiful place. And Daniel just shouted out a bunch of our resources. But if you're looking for a spot to start getting connected to other groups that are working on these issues, I mean, there's a ton of folks represented in this panel right now, but we try to keep our website updated so you can kind of use that to connect on the broader scale to folks across the Hill Country. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Just wanted to make sure, you know, there are a lot of challenges facing us, but one of those is not that people don't care. Everybody here really does seem to value where we live.
Yeah, and y'all have a huge education and outreach piece of your work at the Barton Springs district, don't you? Because there may be, you know, a lot of people here that are interested in how they can protect their groundwater resources.
Yes, it's really important to us that we constantly communicate certain messages about drought and about our science development and about the ongoing permitting matters that come before the district. And so we do continue to grow our educational program and stay active in community events like this. And that's how people are learning, because there's new people arriving all the time from other places and don't really know the precious, you know, resources that we have here and how they're all connected. And I really thought that was a really great point, Leah, that I think there are people, most people do care about this region and the uniqueness of it, and that's why they're coming here or staying here. But I think for those who want to get really engaged and have the time to do so, people should join boards of organizations like the Hill Country Alliance, or consider joining your local groundwater conservation district board, join local planning committees, or just volunteer with some of these organizations that continue to foster the missions of preserving the Hill Country uniqueness. Yeah. I would also add that for those who don't have a lot of time these days, we're very busy juggling multiple things. You know, a lot of people have time to scroll through social media, and you could put those thumbs to use by kind of joining certain social media groups or pages, or joining e-newsletters just to educate yourself. Because if you educate yourself, then you're more likely to support the initiatives that your local municipalities or groundwater districts are trying to push and trying to raise money for. So just supporting bond initiatives, like Lori said, and encouraging these authorities that manage your supplies to go a little bit further, like invest in alternative supplies so you can reduce pressures on these resources. There's just multiple ways to stay engaged.
Yeah, so Lori,
I'll segue onto that. Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say there's a ton of other, you know, land conservation groups across the Hill Country. They're doing all kinds of great work. There's the Hill Country Conservancy, the San Marcos River Foundation, Guadalupe Blanco River Trust, the Hill Country Land Trust. There's a lot of statewide groups that also do conservation, like the Nature Conservancy and the Conservation Fund, the Texas Agricultural Land Trust. Native Prairies Association. There's, you know, again, there's a wealth of great conservation organizations that are doing work across the Hill Country, and they always are looking for volunteers for field days and events and getting, you know, a lot of stewardship activities and things out on the land. So if that interests you, I would encourage you, you can go to the Texas Land Trust Council website and look under the land trust tabs, which is texaslandtrustcouncil.org. And you can see the land trust, click on the Hill Country area, and you can see all the land trusts that work in the Hill Country and find one that, you know, might seem fun to you to work with or volunteer for.
It's also worth mentioning that not everybody that's doing environmental work is necessarily working for a nonprofit or a government agency that's focused on environmental work. We've got lots of partners in the business community, folks that you've seen kind of spotlighted today through our vendors that are doing stuff to help. But I also, you know, I think this is also a good place to plug Water PR. That is the organization run by Karen Ford, who we owe many thanks to for her help pulling off this festival, pulling off leadership summits, pulling off all kinds of events that we've put on in the past. So there is a role for lots of different groups to play in this conservation conversation, right? You know, it's not everybody is boots on the ground. We also have folks that work behind the scenes and help pull it all together or provide funding to pull it all together.
That's a really good point. Yeah, really good point. There's all sorts of different ways that people can contribute to, you know, kind of sustainable growth in the Hill Country. So do we have time for one more question, or are we just okay? I feel like
festival. We're on a party schedule. It's okay.
I know we're a little over, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I guess I've got one question for Emily.
Okay.
You know, I know the Mitchell Foundation has done a lot of work in supporting the Hill Country and supporting sustainability in the Hill Country. And I'm just wondering, what is the Mitchell's Foundation perspective, and maybe what advice would they give for people how to get involved in the Hill Country and these issues?
So what I was just, thank you for asking, because I was just going to add one thing in addition to everything that everybody else said. You know, one is support these organizations that are represented here and others that are doing the good work by donating money, time, whatever it is, advancing those ideas, becoming more informed about them, and like, you know, really supporting your local leadership who are not looking at single issues, but looking at this sort of systemic, these systemic challenges that the Hill Country is facing. Mm-hmm. So I would say donate and support local leaders to make good decisions, because you're an informed person and it matters that your voice is heard.
Civic engagement.
You know, and then I would say, you know, there's so many things that you can do on an individual level. I mean, like reducing your water use, or I don't know, picking up dog poop. See, I've been drinking now, so I can say dog poop on a panel. You know, planting native species. You've heard all of the panels all today talk about that. So they're very, very like singular things that an individual can do.
And we had dung beetles earlier, so it's okay to talk about poop. And those are great words, you know, because it's like when you look around and you see something nice in this world, it's because, in large part, because people cared about that and got together and did what they needed to do to preserve, you know, that nice thing, that nice place, or that nice feeling. And so that's some really, really good advice. So do we want to move on to we got the prizes, and the panel can stay on, and you can ooh and on and clap as appropriate, especially now that your inhibitions are reduced.
I'm a little distracted because my chickens have just jumped up on my table here. So
I saw you chuckling over there, Lori.
It's like I heard that Jen makes her paranoid, so I was a little worried.
I didn't have my virtual background up.
Bring out the randomizer, and we still have 3 great prizes to give away. And first up, we've got the basket full of beauty, and no, it's not a basket with me in it. This is a basket from Pink West Salon. Why is everybody laughing at that? This is a basket from Pink West Salon in Dripping Springs. So there it is, and that's a pretty full basket.
Yeah, looks great.
All right, Leah's running the randomizer.
Who's the lucky winner, Leah?
So how does this work? Is it present to win? No, just kidding.
It's a little bit more difficult to run the randomizer when I'm on a video, but let's see, it's rolling right now.
Okay.
Our first winner of the second round of prize drawing is Michael Self.
Michael Self, all right. I should know that's from Pink West Salon, and see if I can say this word, aesthetician Carrie. Oh, here's another one, Napiorkowski. Hopefully I got that right. Wonderful. Next up, we've got His and Hers Better Sweaters from Patagonia.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Those look really nice, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Running the randomizer. Needs to make noises. Boop, boop,
Perfect for hanging out by the fire.
If you can see my screen right now, it's like a spinning wheel.
Oh,
this winner is Kelly Davis.
Kelly Davis.
Oh, congratulations.
Very good.
Good score.
And then this next one, which kind of makes me wish I had joined in, but you know, as Lori said earlier, or maybe it was Vanessa, it's like, yeah, it would look bad.
Yeah.
A watershed analysis on your property from ERA Landscaping is a rain garden in your future. And if you're wondering, it's a great prize for residential or commercial land, and it's going to show you the kind of the natural watershed and basins of your property, and maybe where you can best put a rain garden. If you wonder what a rain garden is, it's just kind of like a swale or manipulation of the landscape that allows rainwater to collect and then infiltrate into your soil.
So it doesn't run off into the street.
Yeah, so you get runoff benefits, you get groundwater recharge benefits, soil moisture benefits. Boop, 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 running the randomizer.
Here we go.
Still running.
And this winner is Martha Bean.
Martha Bean, all right, wonderful. If you're listening in and your name got mentioned, Hill Country Alliance will reach out to you to either mail your winnings to you or figure out a way to get them delivered and into your hands. So thank you all for playing and for poking around the marketplace, and it will be available again through the end of the year. You can do your Christmas shopping there and your Thanksgiving shopping at rainwaterrevival.com.